Good morning. This is Dr. Mia Luth. It is Sunday, July 12th, 2026. It is approximately 8:35 a.m. Eastern Time, New York, USA, and we have missing success. The being who pretended to be God, right, was the fallen A name, and some of us over time have been tearing that one bit by bit to pieces. So essentially, that one, fallen A name, was everybody's enemy, including what you guys see as demons. Right? You understand? And pagans and Christians and Jews and atheists and Buddhists and every kind. Some of us, like that one, started getting attacked from all sides, from everywhere, 24/7, 365, and the final handoff has been made, and the one, so an eternal being can actually be undone, just so everybody knows. Okay, so I was allowed to jump in and prepare and lead the pagans, who still exist on Earth, by the way, everyone. Right? So they too could get their licks in. And those demons who were allowed, right, they've been sent back, but they too were allowed to get some licks in. And that one is powerless and about to become history in the past. So there are ways to take out eternal beings, just so you know. So I've disconnected from a lot of it. I know, like, I've had better times in life, I can assure all of you. I took the brunt of it, which is why I've been having so much difficulty. But I accept love and good thoughts and all that kind of stuff, and healing, and right. So that one is done. It. That one did try to convince a very large group of humankind that one was indeed the creator of all things. So, now some of the Gnostics, it's not like I don't get it. I mean, the reason why I was permitted to do that and jump is because my soul's old enough to remember the old way. Unfortunately, that one enslaved many, murdered many of all different types, and kind of used to be right. So we've been tearing that one up, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Somebody tore off a foot, and somebody poked out both eyes, and somebody yanked off an arm, and somebody burned the head, and somebody took out the Achilles heel. It's been going on for quite a while, but it's done, and I made the final handoff directly to a heavenly seat. You understand? So I can now start actually recovering. It will take me a little while, so just slowly but surely I'm gone. But I have mission success on that one, and more truth about these things will start becoming known on Earth at a pace that's not going to break the minds of anybody. You understand? This has to be properly paced so that it can be commonly understood by all humankind and other kinds that humans may or may not know about, so on and so forth. But it's done. So that's good news. Okay. So would anyone thought of the demiurge, though? That was in the past. Like, if we're looking at Earth 2026, right, just if we're looking linearly, if you want to say linearly, yep, the demiurge was taken care of in the past. You understand? That is actually on linear time frames and understanding in the past. Okay, so you use past tense there, right? So that you understand in a linear way, that one is past tense. Okay, that one was immediately, I mean, his mother, recognized very quickly, oh, you know, this is, and she immediately asked for help, and she immediately, right? So you understand, that was already cleaned up. You understand? Okay, so there's no demiurge in the year 2026 or linearly. Okay, everybody? There isn't. That cleared up, done in the past. I mean, if you're teaching history, make sure it's known as, right, in the past history. You understand? Right. Formerly demiurge. You understand? So anyone who got stuck, anyone, you know, had issues, anyone, yes, you get seconds. A lot of, you know, right, some of the beings involved, right, get second chances. And when it comes to those who identify as pagan, what I'm saying is they were denied even a first chance because they were murdered before they. So because we've taken down the fallen A name, right? They now have a second chance where they wouldn't have had at all. So that's just to explain. But demiurge is in the past. Okay, so it is year 2026, and linearly speaking, so that everybody understands, that definitely is in the past, and that was taken care of, and any, you know, effect or any kind of thing, it's basically all been made up for. So some who, you know, need a reprieve, blah blah blah, that's all been handled already. So demiurge is past tense. Okay, so that's earthly, a timeline, linearly. Okay, so it's basically, you're now teaching history. Do you understand? Okay, the demiurge is history. Like the Gnostic situation, a lot of that is history. It already passed. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, is start using the past tense. That was taken care of already, right? And so it's that was like the gauntlet. You understand? Like in Egyptians, right? Some Buddhists, some others, more older belief systems and situations on Earth. I call it the gauntlet. It's like your post-death gauntlet. Choosing Jesus does mean that you don't have to run any kind of gauntlet. Okay, that's why it's past tense, Gnostics. You understand what I'm saying? So, right, we pass away. You understand, and we don't worry about, oh, you got to get by these, and you got to get by these, and you got to get. You understand? Like some Egyptologists and others, that's why they have things written on them, so that when they do pass away, they have, guidance to, right, escape all that and get to that. So I call it the gauntlet. And some Buddhists, because not all Buddhists are the same, but some, the post-death chanting, and right, it's like they're giving instructions to the recently deceased to get past all that. So that's a situation in the past. So all I'm saying is that if you do choose Jesus, there's none of that. It's all past tense history, right? You don't run a gauntlet. Okay, so there were some that were stuck. So, right, one of my missions was to help find them and get them unstuck, so that we could close that forever. But that is one of the reasons why certain things were happening. So, like the Archon, you gotta run the gauntlet. You don't have to do that anymore. That is past tense. You understand what I'm saying? The gauntlet is closed, right? You don't have to do this like recently deceased, right? Oh yeah, because most of them didn't make it at all, and they were still stuck. And that is part of why there's this understanding of something that's called I forget the word, because I don't use that terminology, so I'm not quite sure what that word is, but limbo. There it is. Unfortunately, you understand? We're convinced that, and unfortunately, most of them didn't make it. They were just stuck there. You understand what I'm saying? So clearly, I don't want anybody. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I mean, that seems like no good. So they're all cleared out. You understand? So for the Gnostic tradition, when they say the demiurge, okay, that is past tense. That is history. That is like humankind. You teach that in the past tense now. You understand? You say did. They did. They don't anymore. This is not the truth anymore. It's been taken care of. Okay? So if you're talking about the demiurge and all this, right, you're talking about the past tense. Right, because time is not really a factor for certain things, but most humans, they live and understand on a linear pattern. So linearly, I'm letting you teach about, if you want to teach, if you want to learn about history, you're learning about history. Okay, year 2026, that's all history. Okay, it's not upcoming. Okay, it's in the past. It's happened. Doors closed. You use, the demiurge did, and this one did, not is or will. It was. You understand? Demiurge was, and that's already been cleaned out. Okay. So we have 2 mission success, and I started working on, I decided to jump in and volunteer to finish the mission of someone else who passed away before completion. And so I have 3 mission completion. Okay, that is done. Okay, so right, and certain things in linear time had to happen at the way they happen. So I have 3 mission success. All right, it has been a long battle for me. So I'm taking a nice long break, and I have other missions, but some of them I've just set up, and I slowly, when I have time, just kind of work on them. And some of it I have to wait for some things, so this is a more slow, relaxed pace for me, and I need it to be that way. But I mean, essentially, if I were military, like in military terms, at least U.S. military terms, you're like, well, I jumped in to a war. I was born into a war on Earth, but it's that one is over. So those of us who may have been involved, right, we're all going to get a little bit of a break. We're all going to kind of like, get it out. We're going to, heal from it. We're going to make sure that, we just close and we're done. We let it go. It's in the past. You understand? And then we just move on. So I slowly work on a couple other missions back and forth. I do that slowly in terms of human time, but we do have a 3-mission success, and I have completed the work of someone who started a mission and passed away before they could finish on Earth. So this is sometimes we will volunteer. Some of us, not all types and kinds. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't worry about it then. Like, this is, it's good news, and that's all you need to know. Okay, right? This stuff is not meant for everybody, and we're not all built the same way. We're not all trained the same way. We all didn't, take the same mission, and so on and so forth. So I've been slowly building here and there, trying to find ways for funding, stuff like that. So just know, okay, if anybody mentions the Demiurge or the Gnostics or just understand, okay, we're teaching history if you're going to be talking about the Demiurge. You understand? On Earth, it's human history. Demiurge was, right? But that's history. It's all been cleaned up. Those affected, that's all been taken care of. So that's the past. Understood? All right. And I took the brunt of the fallen egg, and it's still affecting me. All right. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I just knew that one was attacking, and I just jumped in front of everybody without even thinking. So that's why it wasn't felt on Earth in the way that he had planned. You understand? But I'm injured. I'm tired, but we have 3 mission success. And then I let I had like a little team. That's like kind of the name of it. And, I needed, one got compromised, but thankfully that was seen and known and jumped on pretty quickly, right? But it did cause some difficulties, and that's been handled, you understand? Well, that gets handled human law, and that's out of my hands, and, I'm way past that. But the rest I put ahead of me so that they could heal and get their cup and get, all back to good and all that other kind of stuff, right? So they were well rested, and then, when they're finished, they could, jump back in and help me out. So I do have a certain kind of help in certain ways, right? But I'm saying mission success. It is good news. And these things will start becoming more known and seen and understood on Earth, and certain real truths will be brought to light. But we are going to do this on a pace that all the life on Earth, you have to understand, animals, okay, humans, okay, the difference between human and animals, everyone, right? Humans can adjust and survive things that animals cannot. You understand what I'm saying? So, humans can migrate north, south, east west, they can survive things as a group that animals cannot. When you move a bunch of animals from like colder climates to warmer climates in 1 or 2, that would be a macro evolution kind of thing, if you understand evolution and you're looking at it that way. And there would be severe losses, you understand? So humankind is able to, one, help each other and understand each other, sometimes without even talking to each other, but able to adapt and survive even in a single generation. So if you're an evolutionist, you would look at like micro evolution, okay? So that is what I'm saying. There is a difference between the animal kingdom and humans. Even though we do share characteristics of mammals, okay, we are, you understand? But we have something that animals do not. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, is like a large group of animals having to move from a warmer climate to they're not going to make it, you understand? And the few who might, okay, that there's going to be heavy losses, and that's a macroevolution that would take, right? That's without the presence of God. I mean, we do have that, so but if you're just looking at it that way, there is a difference between the animal kingdom and humankind. Okay? And that is it. That is the difference. We as humans figure out how to work together. We as humans figure out how to build things, move things, housing, shelter, find water. We know how to adapt and survive. Right. Okay. So some of these questions over time were posed and asked of, let's just say, heavenly sources, and though that is the information I'm bringing to light, and I'm saying very specifically, human beings, okay, the species name, if you're a scientist, you're like Homo sapien, and then yes, Homo sapiens sapien. And the reason why there's a sapien, even if people didn't realize that, is that like there are some who are only Homo sapien, you understand? But then there's some who are Homo sapiens sapien, and even the biologists in class, right, they may not, well, that's not why we did it, but yeah, well, because God was helping you anyway. He gets through every which way, whether you realize it or not. So essentially, some people understand it as in like third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. Okay, some of you are adding dimensions that don't exist. Okay, you may be trying to project out for the future, but that's not how it works. You see what I'm saying? That's all just fantasy and what you want, and you think you're projecting out for the future, but you're not. Okay, you're not. It never turns out. It never. Most of you don't even make it anywhere near that anyway, because unfortunately you keep thinking that you can project out your future, and that's not what happens. Okay, so just kind of understand these few things, all right? But so I like at ease. Okay, Team Love, at ease. Some, we're trained, right? It's gonna take us a little while to get out of certain habits and stuff like that, but yes, mission success. But I had yeah, I had a target, and I already said what. Yeah, children of God, there's nothing in any scripture. Like, here's what I'm gonna say: is children of God and things they do. Right? They also now called family, and I'm just like, excuse me. Well, here's where the Rosicrucians need to understand what I'm saying. It's like, well, we're not all family anymore. It's like they're getting shunned. You understand? They're getting shut out. They're getting disowned. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can't tolerate everything. Okay, so we're not all family. Okay, and that decision is above your head. But I'm saying, right? We cut them out. We get rid of them, and so. I'm going to put it to you this way. I grew up in the United States, so that's a situation where there's a separation of church and state, which is what I'm most familiar with. But there are other places where there isn't that. And they operate in certain places. What I'm going to say is just like Jesus, said to Shaitan. Right, like it is written. Alright, being tested in the desert, Jesus says it is written. So I'm saying it is not written. Do you understand what I'm saying? So whether you are in a place where there's a separation of church and state, or one where there is not, it all pretty much adds up to the same thing. No, they're subject to human law and nothing else. And they can't, use religion in the U.S. as any kind of excuse, because they're not a legitimate religion under God. And even the Quran, if you're looking, no matter what name you want to give God, nothing. It is not written. All that which happens with them is unacceptable. They are all subject to human law. And just human law. Alright? I mean, in a U.S. court, I could use scripture and, right then I'd become a Bible thumper, because there's nothing biblical. Not even in the Ethiopian. I haven't seen the whole thing, but my sense is, right, not the Catholic version, not the Protestant version, and right, I'm not picking up anything that it is Ethiopian, but I will verify and double check. I'm simply saying it is not written. So if it's not written in scripture, then they're subject to human laws. United States of America law enforcement justice system. You see what I'm saying? They are trafficking children across international lines for the reason. Yep, you see what I'm saying? So no. Okay, so I'm clergy, so I'm sitting in the U.S. and I say, hello, state. Capital letter. Not state of Maryland. Just state in general. This is church. It's got nothing to do with God in any way God is known on earth. In any way. Anywhere. Definitely got nothing to do with Jesus, who, right, if you're going to say Jesus of Nazareth, who, born Mary, adopted by Joseph through the house of David. Got nothing to do with that either. They're just harming children, and they're breaking so many different kinds of human laws. It's insane. Please, feel free. And I'm telling you, I'm handing this off to the state, capital S, United States of America, and other countries have, right, you understand what I'm saying? It is not written. They are not protected by scripture, religious freedoms in the United States. You understand? And because it's not written, you understand? Right. So you can say, say scripture, it is written. Jesus says it's written. And you can also say, it is not written. So no matter how anybody understands, air quote, God on earth, there is nothing that indicates this has anything to do with that. And in the United States, I can debunk their air quote religious freedom in every possible way with scripture. I'm telling you, they need to be stopped. Not one more baby born anywhere on earth. You understand? I'm handing it off to human law enforcement. I refuse to have another single baby born into that anywhere on earth. You understand? Alright, so I'm relaxing, I'm taking it easy, I'm letting go of some things. I let my small team go ahead of me to get healed up, reparations, do what they needed to do. One of them has to deal with all sorts of criminal crap, and I don't care, but that's being handled too, and it did cause us issues, but it's being taken care of. So yeah, I mean, there's some who, upon seeing and hearing this, will just get a sense of it, or just understand sort of in a way, and some will understand completely when I say I jumped in and took the brunt of it, and oh boy, did I really. Some of it I'm never going to talk about, but we have mission success, and so someday, hopefully soon, all that is gonna just be away from me, and all I'm gonna remember is that we had mission success. For now, everybody needs to take it easy on me, please. Okay. I don't know why. I just automatically did it. Like, I felt the attack coming, and so I jumped out ahead in front of everybody and ended up taking the brunt of it. Yeah, I don't regret it, but no, I will never really be able to explain just how crappy everything has been for me. But regardless, anybody who sees this and doesn't understand, hey, that's good news. You don't have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to worry about it. Let's just say that, a certain situation that caused harm all over the place, animals, right? It doesn't even matter. Pagans, demons, angels, humans, aliens, whoever you got going on, whatever, right? You understand? Like, all types and kinds were harmed without permission, without right of anyone, without knowing the good plan for all things. Yeah. Okay. And so, children being born on Earth, there may be like a little bit, because it'll start turning into being taught history. Yeah, right. But no, and neither will the animals, neither will, you understand, other types and kinds that, technically we usually have no contact, but anyway. Okay. But I'm hurting. And I'm not in the most jovial mood, and like the seriousness of it needs to kind of go, and dealing with some things in my physical environment that are unacceptable in almost every way. Okay, and so, I've asked, but my team, I wanted them to go out first. Well, it turned out I was first one in. I just didn't even think it was automatically did. So I took the brunt of it. I don't regret it, but anyway, so I'm last one out, so I just wanted them. But my small team, they can, once they're all good to go, everything's good to go, right, they can, right, kind of jump in and help me. But I need some, actual physical friendly help here in Elkton, Maryland, 21921. Because this is sort of like an isolated situation that was, kind of wrangled and, I don't know, contained or quarantined in a way. And so there's a few who would understand what I'm saying, and so I need some friendly faces who are not all fucked up in the head and damaged in certain ways. Everyone around me is damaged. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I'm asking those with some understanding, and I need it to be males. Yeah, right. Okay. I mean, I don't care if you were born a female and you're fully male, but I need you to be fully male. Okay? Right? If you're still working on that, don't. Okay? Right? You understand. I can't dictate these things to anybody. But I can say, so females, I can still help you indirectly. Okay? But here, I can't. You understand? Like, if I have a female, right, there's all different types of things and healing that needs to happen with these people, and some of them need to be, if I have removals. Do you understand? So, those of you understand the spirit. Okay, I need some assistance. There are some here who need to be removed. Wrong environment, wrong kind of help. There are Sunrise clients abusing each other, and there's not much Sunrise can do. Right? Upper Bay Counseling and Support Services needs immediate assistance. Particularly, right, the Sunrise, residential program. I'm telling this to the capital letter state. I'm telling this to the state of Maryland. I'm telling this to the Catholics. I'm telling this to whoever, anybody. Okay, you understand? All right. These are much more complicated cases, and I cannot handle that full load, given the fact that all that other stuff. You understand? Right, so I need some of you willing to come here and jump in and help, and those who understand autism way better than these people do. Okay, like Sunrise, Upper Bay Sunrise. Okay, I don't give a shit. Core Services should not be sending any more autistics to Sunrise. You understand? And hospitals, listen. If you know you have an adult autistic, don't put them in your 4th floor or your mental health floor. I mean, you're just fucking them up, and they're susceptible to shit, and they're gonna get hurt, and I will end you if you continue. Right? So autism advocates should be jumping all over, making absolutely sure no more adult autistics are handled by Upper Bay Counseling and Support Services. And if you had awareness of it and you did nothing, that is the same as committing a crime in human law ways. I might be injured, but I'm a tough old pain in the fucking ass. And I keep going until it's done. Right, anyway, no, I'm not acting, by the way. And there's some information that some may have needed. The actual real truth of things will come to light, okay? Like, you understand. That's just truth. These are all serious matters, so for me, I'm like, I'm not sitting around bullshitting. I'm not sitting around the campfire talking fish stories, you understand? Like, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Like, I operate that way. I would not want it to happen to me, so I would not do it to anyone else. And I have to check and recheck information, you understand? And check and recheck and check and recheck and check and recheck, so that it is 100% sure. Okay? And so that's why sometimes getting information to the public takes a little while, right? Plus protecting the innocent and those who you have to protect too, people. So I'm saying, the myths will start like disappearing, will be busted all over the place, and that'll become more common knowledge to all humankind. You understand? All humankind. So what I was saying about Homo sapien and Homo sapien sapien is that there are some in the third, and they can't say, like, right? Do you understand? Like, there are those. It's not fair, right, to have us stay. I mean, I'm ready, even though I'm injured. Like, I can still handle it, especially considering that there's, a few more of my brothers who are aware of the kind of help and assistance I need, and they're awake and moving. So, that'll start building, and I know that, okay? But, right, there are some who are ready, okay? And so some, at some point, may have called it a quantum leap. Okay, there are some who use certain terminology, may call this a quantum leap. But what I'm saying is that it is like getting to the point where